So, NIO to 60 by the end of the year, maybe this week. It could happen. I'm not predicting it, but I'm observing that, yeah, it might happen. But hold on, first, like, subscribe, share this video. I want to get a following here for NIO. We've got a lot going on, and my mind just spins with all the information that I'm putting in there, all the things that I'm studying and seeing. And for example, we had this pullback on Friday. Well, sort of a pullback, and then the stock started going back up. And one of the reasons is the institutional investors, the big dogs as I call them, they're getting more involved. One of them, the biggest in the world, I believe, had already positioned themselves in NIO earlier, and on Friday they went ahead and bought a whole lot more shares. So these guys are big. I mean, we're not talking the little guys. We're talking about the ones who really drive the prices up. And I just wonder how many others are starting to look this way. How many are at the table and willing to go back in for seconds? I see this thing going up long term for sure, and that's why I'm vested in it. That's why I am hoping to get more shares at a premium price. I just don't know if it's going to happen. I do think there will be some kind of pullback, but I can't help but wonder if we've already seen some of it just from what happened on Friday. So yeah, what's one thing that's interesting, and I talked about this before, was I wondered if NIO would get to 60 by the end of the year. Now, there were reasons for my thinking that. It wasn't just speculation. I was noting that there are some maybe strategic moves on the part of NIO. For example, the week that we in the US were having our election, news came out that NIO was going to do earnings on around November 17th. Now, previously, it had looked like they were going to do those earnings a week earlier. But that 1 week slide out from the date might have been a strategic play on their part, because they knew that there was a little bit of unrest going on here in the US, and they might have wanted the market to settle down a little bit, or they might have wanted a little bit more of a build up to the earnings. They are pretty transparent in their numbers and what they report. Their deliveries have been up every month, so the earnings report is going to be good to probably great. It may be really strong. They're not yet profitable as a company, but I actually take that as a positive because I'm a long-term investor, and I don't want all of the institutional investors, the big dogs, to drive up the price yet. I would like to get in early and cheap. I first bought in for 6 and change in June, and I'm just adding shares, but trying to keep my overall price point very low so that I can minimize my risk while also maximizing my return in the long haul and where I see this stock going long term. So I'm just trying to sort of figure what's going to happen in the short term, and it's always just a bad idea to try and time the market. In my opinion, it's not something that I don't do the day trading. I'm not really excited about that. I don't want to mess with that. I'm looking at long-term value. The fact that the company isn't profitable overall, it has allowed the price point to stay lower. There are investors who will not get in until they actually become profitable. And so I'm actually kind of hoping that takes a little bit longer, but I think they're moving fast toward that. And so one of the things I will be looking for is their margins. I want to see what their margins are and how far they've cut those down. Now, again, they're very transparent, and they've already come out and said that they've cut their margins. So they give off a little bit for us who are paying attention to make note and say, oh, okay, I can expect this now. But I don't know if they're going to do any extra news. I don't know if they're going to do anything that would hype things anymore. And frankly, I don't think they have to, because by moving this earnings date to the middle of the month, they've done a couple of things effectively. They moved a little bit further away from the American election, which was obviously a tumultuous time and a little bit of turmoil in the market, and people here in the States just kind of freaking out. But they also have now set things up such that at the end of November, they're going to have another record of deliveries that they're going to report in early December. And so there's going to be even more good news for NIO coming out. Now, there's a couple reasons I expect that. One, they've already said that they were backlogged with their deliveries. And so they were at least 8 weeks out, and this is a little while back. So 2 months moving forward, they're already maxed out on what they can deliver. And now it's a matter of upping the game for them. They have also, just this last week, I read or heard one of the executives for the company, for NIO, said that they're now transitioning in November to double shifts, which means last month in October, where they had already hit a new record of over 5,000 deliveries, by going to the double shifts, even if they don't see that number double in November, it will increase in November. So again, we're going to have another record. And still, this is just consistent with what they've already told us will happen. They've already said going forward, this is going to be the norm. You're going to see record deliveries month after month. So these are the things that I'm seeing that a few weeks ago, I think it was maybe the 11th when I did a video and talked about that NIO, they might get to $60 by the end of the year. It was because I saw these sort of delayed positive reports that were already kind of out there. The numbers being good and the company building momentum. So these things are, it's just a common logical application for me is hey, this is good, this is good, this is good. There's a lot of good things happening. Also, we're going to have probably by the end of the year more analysts doing updates. And they're for the most part trailing the stock price. But as they improve their positions, more people will look, more people will say, oh, I like this. And again, it's just going to attract more buyers, more investors, I believe. So it's kind of a question of how soon do we get more of an influx from these big investors, these big dogs who are really going to drive the price. I'm hoping it holds off a little bit just because the price is already just shooting up there. But I find it really interesting to look at the technical analysis and see how many are talking about an impending dip and a drop and all these things. And we actually saw one of those Friday, but then we also saw that the strength and the attention paid by the big investors, the big dogs, the institutional guys, and that makes a difference, and that drives the price. So as always, I want to thank you for watching, and subscribe, like, share. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time.